Welcome to the Fitness Simplified podcast. I'm Brooke Davis, women's functional nutritionist and fitness specialist with Elysian Women's Wellness, and I'm here to simplify your fitness. This client interview was actually recorded a couple of years ago, but I thought it was really valuable because this client was struggling with something that I see a lot, and that is cookie cutter diet and or macro plans, suggestions. There's a reason that everything we do is individualized. We are not only taking your overall health into account, your hormonal health, but also your body's capacity to be on a diet, which is stressful, your past dieting history, how your metabolism has adapted to that. And most importantly, we recognize that this path is not linear. There will be ups and downs physically and emotionally. There will be plateaus on the scale. That is normal. These are all very normal situations to navigate that apps and robots cannot do currently. Most importantly, I hope this episode really just reinforces that you don't need extremes to be successful with a fat loss journey. You need to be intentional. Enjoy.
Cool. Good morning. So I just want to kind of go over a little bit about like what your journey is. Backstory, we worked together for 6 months, like total 9 months, kind of in totality, but 6 months officially. And so I just want to start by you sharing a little bit about you, what you do, maybe what your schedule is like, just things that people can like relate to.
So my name's Ashley. I'm 29 years old, and I'm a dental hygiene student at Oregon Institute of Technology. Going into my last term, so I will soon no longer be a student, which is exciting because that's been part of the struggle, is being a student and kind of not being able to be as active, just with like sitting and studying all the time. Along with sitting in clinic all day, which will be my job, but you know, that it comes with other struggles. So yeah, prior to that, I was a dental assistant for a couple of years. And then prior to that, I was active duty military for 4 years. So right now, as far as my schedule, I'm actually on the last weekend of my winter break, which is exciting because that just means I'm almost done. But as far as my school schedule, I have long clinic hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's where I think in one of your last videos, you're talking about I'm who is not allowed to go to the bathroom. So it's really hard on those days to kind of reach my water goal. I just kind of do the best I can because nothing's worse than sitting there with your bladder full. Can't do anything about it. I hate it. So otherwise, so I'm in there for about 9 hours a day. We get one lunch break. And then the other days I'm just in classes all day sporadically. Some days are shorter than others, but for the most part, like starting earlier. So I'll usually do my training in the morning and I have my meals kind of prepped either the night before or the morning of. I kind of have like batch stuff made and throw it all in a container and head out the door. So yeah, that's kind of what my schedule looks like. My weekends are usually full of just doing little stuff around the house and studying. So studying is just my life right now.
Yeah. Not for long. That's exciting. Basically, what made you ultimately reach out? Like, what were you looking to achieve and working together? And what was that kind of turning point for you in asking for help?
So I think I made a joke on one of my posts for the challenge the other day about my tipping point for reaching out was considering doing keto.
Okay. Oh God.
I'm like, no, can't be it. This isn't the answer. Yeah, I've had friends do it, and of course, a lot of people do have temporary success with it. And I thought, man, is that what I need? And then I thought, no, because I've followed you for a long time on Instagram. I've I guess in a creepy way, because of Joey, knew who you were. I knew you knew your stuff. Kind of sounds like a stalker.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, but
with social media, that's how it's like. There's so many people that you know or know of. You're like, oh, I know your life is fine.
Yeah, I know a lot about you for absolutely no reason. So yeah, so I say that was the tipping point. But what led me to the tipping point was just kind of the guess you could say yo-yo dieting, but just kind of gaining and losing the same 10 to 15 pounds, which is common for a lot of people. But basically, whenever I would lose it, it would be so dramatic. I would cut a lot of calories and go super dramatic. And if I didn't, every time I weighed myself, if I didn't see a change, like a positive change in the scale, I would think, okay, well, gotta cut more food. Like, you know, obviously what you're doing is not working. And I didn't have the knowledge to take any scale fluctuations into consideration or sodium. And stress, especially these last couple weeks, I'm definitely taking that into consideration with my little jump in the scale right now. I'm not really freaking out about it. I feel good. So I know it's likely just temporary. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to feel like I looked like I worked out. I have no issue working out. I love weight training. It's my hobby. I don't know. I don't think really much people in the group are on my Instagram, but my potato quality videos, I love working out. It's fun. That's how I met Joey, and I've just kind of made it a fun hobby for myself. So yeah, my tipping point was that, and wondering if it was my hormones. Then there was a little bit of issues with mine, but it was not the issue with my weight. So yeah, just wanting to build a little bit more confidence as well. And like I said, just feeling like I looked like I worked out. I didn't really feel like I did, and that kind of sucked with how much I worked out.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, cool. And then what was your, biggest struggle with that? You had tried some things. You said you got super low calorie. Why didn't that work? And I know you were using a specific app to do that. Can you tell us more about what that struggle actually?
Yeah. So, I've done diets where basically like 800 to 1,000 calories, terrifying, not healthy, not good for you. And yeah, an app I was using, I feel like now that I have the proper knowledge, especially around scale fluctuation, it would be a useful app. And obviously with an app, you're not paying for one-on-one service. That's not what the fee represents, and that's not what the app represents. So I do think, 'cause especially like we talked about, the company as a whole, and I even use their training templates. I don't want to like name drop. I don't know if I should or not. Yeah.
It's
Um,
okay.
but yeah, I use like their training templates, and they're great. Listen to a lot of their stuff, and their knowledge is great. So I think the law is the scale fluctuations and kind of their client group. It's not really moderated. It's kind of open. So thousands of people are just on there throwing their opinions and their eating disorders on there is kind of, to be blunt, like, oh, just snack on this all day and it's free calories. And like I said, it's not moderated by the owners. And I think that was part of the issue too, was I kind of was like taking all these random advices around what they did for diet and what they did for their hunger. And, oh, the scale didn't drop. Well, just, click drop calories and or drop macros and go on to the next day. And so that would create this vicious cycle where I would only be on the same calories for a week. And then if there wasn't a change in the scale, it would do a weekly check-in, and it would go off of your weigh-ins, and I weighed in twice a week, and it would take the average from those two. And if there was a drop based off the goal that I picked, which I always picked the less difficult one, just a couple pounds, and it would recommend decreasing macros, and then again, and then again, and it would get to the point where even the app would say like, we can no longer drop anymore. It would be unsafe, but it would wait till you were at like 5 grams of carbs per meal to tell you that you were at an unsafe level. And I'm like, I think that was a lot earlier.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah.
So
Well, that's, what you're saying as far as like taking a lot of other people's advice. Just scrolling through Facebook, like not even in diet groups, like you could gain some solid eating disorders.
yes,
So I think that just hugely speaks to, the individualization of coaching, especially when it comes to nutrition. And this having that one kind of expert guidance versus going online and going to YouTube. The one thing that somebody said the other day was that really made me laugh and totally is true, is that she's like, you can go to YouTube and She's like, you want to learn to underwater basket weaving? Like, sure, you can go to YouTube and you can spend hours and hours and, and years trying to learn it yourself, even from YouTube. She's like, or you could hire someone to like teach you underwater basket weaving and like you'd learn it in a couple of days. Like, and
Yeah.
so that just really speaks to the, the specificity of what you can get with coaching. So, but yeah, that
Yeah.
the app and the reduction of calories is a super common thing that I see and hear about. And whether someone's following an app or not is just something that is like inherent. They think they need to do when trying to cut. Oh, so we're not, seeing the scale move. Well, let's cut more calories. Like the training I did on Plateaus. So you're not alone in that by any means.
Yeah, it was definitely it created a vicious cycle. And like I said, it's not to all like bash on the app. I think the concept was okay because it would make you balance the meal. It would have you, pick your protein, fat, and then your carb, and it would just keep it super simple. And their recommended foods were whole foods. So, now that I have better knowledge, not that I want to continue tracking forever, but sometimes I do like to I like dialing things in. And especially when I'm busy, sometimes it's nice that like I can look at that and know I'm on track and not wondering, especially with like protein intake. I've been enjoying tracking my fiber intake, just kind of like another goal. And same with my water. I do like kind of write down if I drink like 24-ounce glass just to kind of be mindful because it is easy to forget like how much did I drink today. And so it's nice to see at the end of the day, I kind of check all those boxes and just kind of
Totally.
easy way to make my goal.
Yeah. So when you were, down to 800, 1,000 calories, how did you feel? What would happen after that? Like, why was this not sustainable for you?
Starving. Yeah. And other than the fact that I was achy and starving and, thinking of our post, I think it was yesterday about blood sugar balance. I bet that was part of an issue too. I mean, I'd be like just shaky hungry and just think, well, it's part of the process, like you got to struggle. You're going to be hungry when you diet, which that is true, but not that dramatic. So yeah, it just wasn't sustainable. Because I like to weight train. And so, like heavy, I love it and, challenging workouts. And so with those few calories, it was hard to feel like I was recovering from them. Um, and I just felt really fatigued. Like I think I could have legitimately taken a nap during my workout, I just want to like lay on the floor and take a nap. But I thought, no, you just got to keep pushing, got to keep trying harder. And it just wasn't fun.
And how many times do you feel like you went through that cycle and tried to do that unsuccessfully?
Oh, that's a lot. I feel like my vicious dieting really started in like 2013. It's been a really long time. Just with, when I was in the military, they go off of like height, weight, BMI standards. And I think it should go with that. They should have standards. I'm not against height and weight standards for the military. I think it's a job you willingly sign up for, and you should be in shape and be ready to do, challenging things at any moment in time. This isn't like a love yourself at all size job. There's a time and a place for that, I'm sure too. Not to sound mean, but I think that's, that's what I signed up for. My issue was the lack of guidance. So I understood the basis of what they wanted, but when they just tell you some guy who has no idea what he's doing, just go run miles a day and eat this. And it was about 800, just eat vegetables and chicken breast all day. And, so yeah, I would say that's when the vicious cycle started. I couldn't tell you how many times I've done it. Too many, way too many.
So the military, and I think you told me that they actually told you that you couldn't strengthen, that you had to just go run and like skip lunch and
yeah, I didn't have like not gonna lunch a lot. Yeah, and how hilarious that my leaders, said that I shouldn't lift weights because I'll put on too much muscle and look manly. Like you need to be losing weight and getting smaller. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm 19, 20, 21. I have no idea. And you should be looking up to your leaders. And that's a whole other, we'll just stick to the diet one. But yes, it was hard to listen to people who want to hold you to a standard, but not know how to hold you to the standard. They want you to do it, but figure it out. So you're like, well, okay, but how? If you give me the tools, I'll do them. I'll do whatever you're told. And so I eventually did get good leaders that kind of came in and helped me. And I was able to weight train. And Jessica, my friend who joined the group, she's actually one of them. I don't know if she's on this today, IDing and stuff, but yeah, so she got me into taking weight training seriously and said, screw that, we're doing this. So anyway, yeah, it's been a long time since 2013, just vicious on and off. And then just not paying attention, and sometimes weight would creep up. And I think that's where I have a harder time not weighing myself because I was afraid for that to creep up on me again. And then think, now I got to diet again. It's like, for me, it's easier to just kind of keep checking my weight and keep myself in check rather than not looking at it. And then, oh my God, next thing you know, 10, 15 pounds is there and I didn't notice.
Totally, totally. Cool. And then, so as far as, working together, can you tell us a little bit about what helped you get through that cycle? What you feel was successful and what helped you get to where you are now?
I would say definitely being mindful and educated on the scale fluctuations. There was a lot of times, when we worked together that it wasn't moving a lot or as dramatic as I had hoped. And I would be on point with my diet and you're like, that's okay. That's just what it is. Like, follow the graph, watch the trend go down. And so it was a good educational tool to see the ups and the downs, when weight would fluctuate, and especially after like high volume training, kind of expecting maybe a little bit of a spike. So I would say for me, that was probably the biggest, is to just be patient, and eating more than 1,000 calories. I was eating more when we met. I wasn't, but seeing that I didn't have to eat 50 grams of carbs a day to lose weight. I mean, what were my 175 throughout like the whole diet up until the end. And even the end, I think I was just kind of frozen for a little bit.
And how often did we change your macros?
Never. And I think some people would think, because it's funny, I can't remember if I told you, right? I did work with a like nutrition person once. And I won't name drop them because they're local as well to Grants Pass. But they actually, looking back, kind of did the same thing as the app. But they didn't look at anything. Just if I told them I'd reach my macros every day, and when I gave them my weight on that Friday or whatever, and it didn't change, decrease. And so I ended up back, paying somebody, but the same thing, and it was super frustrating. And so after a little while, I thought, well, why pay for that? I'm just gonna do the same freaking thing. So yeah, it did not change, and my weight did. Like, it would kind of plateau out, maybe spike up a little bit, and every time you would call it after that little spike, a little drop. And it would be nothing, dramatic. And I think that's something to keep in mind too. You see all these influencers on social media with these big dramatic changes, and it's just not always that dramatic.
Yeah, that's obviously something that I try and emphasize, is that, the more dramatic it is, the less sustainable it is. And if you see, those kinds of results, generally you're not going to maintain them, and enter, right, that vicious cycle. And so we obviously shoot for sustainability. And at this point, can you share some of like the specific things that you feel that super successful with, that you got out of us working together? Ultimately, what do you feel you came out of this with?
Yeah. So on top of scale fluctuations, traveling was another big one. Not that I'm some like travel blogger and I'm going to all these crazy places for weeks at a time, a whopping 3 hours. But my family lives 3 hours away from me right now. So whenever I would travel, it's an overnighter. And, my parents, like, they don't eat awful, but they don't eat super healthy. So kind of trying to plan for that of the 3 hour road trip. And then usually that comes with lots of pit stops because I'm out of town. I'm trying to at least visit a couple other people and do stuff. And so, kind of learning to, every time I travel is not a time to go eat out. You don't have to. This isn't like a special occasion. That was something that was good to have, grabbing like jerky or what I could grab at the gas station that could keep me on track if I was hungry, instead of either just starving all day. And then same with like restaurants. Like I just used that fast food guide the other day. I just thought I don't really eat a ton of fast food in general, but I did want to try Chick-fil-A for one. And I remembered it's like, oh, that's on there for sure. So I'll just do that. I could kind of have both.
Oh, I've never had it, so
It was okay. I'm sure maybe like the unhealthy stuff was probably like really good, maybe. But honestly, like for fast food, if you're on the go, I didn't think it was bad. I haven't had McDonald's since like 2013. So yeah, like I don't eat like that stuff disgusts me. I'll still have a good burger at a restaurant, but as far as like those fast food chains, I'm just that's not a struggle for me. I starve if it's between that and driving somewhere really far.
you know.
I don't think I could. I think I'd probably die if I had it at this point. But yeah, so let's see. Traveling, balancing my meals. Oh man, yeah. When we first started working together, I was like hoarding my calories for the end of the day. Um, because for me, it was easier to be hungry during the day because I was like in class or in clinic and kind of like there's nothing I could do if I was hungry because I was busy. So I thought, well, I could just deal with that then. What I can't do is go to bed starving because the inner fat kid in me is hungry. And if I'm just laying there thinking about it, I want to be full. And I know some people can't sleep when they're full, but I love it. I feel like I fall asleep faster. So in a dieting phase, that's what I would do was kind of save my calories for night so that way I could sleep a little bit better. So yeah, I would be kind of shaky hungry today. And so yeah, you kind of made me scoot some of my calories. Like, let's have a bigger lunch. Like that, maybe let's have a more filling breakfast and throw some more vegetables in there. And then protein bars. I know I was a lover of protein bars because, let's face it, some of them do taste like candy bars or something. Rather than focusing on whole foods, and they're just expensive. So, save a couple bucks and eat a whole meal that is more balanced and actually fills you up more. So now I just keep them maybe for traveling. Maybe I'll have an RX bar and I'm traveling instead of like a microwaved meal or something. So yeah, I would say between scale fluctuations, balancing travel, balancing my general meals. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything, but those are like my big takeaways.
One thing that stood out to me, and it's not the first time I've heard this saying, but it just makes me laugh every time. Is that you said, I hope you don't mind me saying this. When you came to me, you were feeling like a busted
Yeah.
yeah. So how are you feeling now? Body with your diet, with what you're eating. Do you feel more confident? Do you feel more comfortable? What does that look like for you?
I feel like a very contained can of biscuits now. I used to say that because, I am like far from petite. That's not my goal. I'm never going to be like some 120-pound person. I have a sturdy foundation, is what I like to say. Yeah,
I have an insane amount of muscle also, just to like give anybody who doesn't know you some reference. Like you were front squatting like 205
yeah,
for like reps, I think. Like
yeah.
yeah, we're not lacking any muscle here. So yeah, a solid foundation I think is a very accurate term.
Yeah, I'm not kidding when I say I do love weight training. And especially working out in my garage now, I probably make a little bit more noise than I used to. Pushing the heavier weight, yeah, I love it. It's fun for me and it's an easy way to have a goal. Like I want to like my cleans. Like this year I'm gonna maybe try and last year goal that I had to delay because of my hip for that 200-pound squat clean. So hopefully by the end of the year, that's now on this year's list of goals. I was trying for before I'm 30, but with that MRI being kind of meh, I don't know. So anyways, yeah, as far as confidence, I feel better. I definitely feel like I was kind of starting to bust out of my clothes. Like my leggings were getting tight. I'm like, girl, if your leggings are tight, like, ooh, those are stretchy. So, yeah, I just feel more confident. I'd like to say, maybe like shopping for clothes, but I mean, I'm a student. So right now I'm not really like going out to clothes racks and shopping, buying new clothes, but I'm looking forward to it, you know, when I'm not a student and I can afford that. But I just, I just feel better in my clothes. I was not dreading the sun. I don't wear anything super skimpy. I'm there. I mean, they're like shorty short board shorts and bikini top, but I felt great. Like I kind of walk around the park, walk around the lake, go get like a drink. I mean, I didn't feel like I had to cover myself up. I felt like that girl looks like she works out, but she probably like has a burger, once a week too. That kind of is my goal, like
Yeah,
that
I think
is
that's a great goal.
it's like balance.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And again, let her know. So, we worked together. We did 4 months, and of kind of strict, like in a deficit. And then over the summer, you completely maintained throughout the entire summer of, family vacations and having fun with friends and things like that. And so that was a huge like win. So
Yeah.
that was awesome. Again, the goal is not just to lose the weight, it's to keep it off. And when you can go through a summer, no coaching, on your own, like doing your thing, and maintaining, that's a huge win. That's what I want for, all of my clients. And ultimately, you said that you weren't sure if you could ultimately get down to like 145. We got down to 151, which that was, and then kind of hit like holidays, stressful kind of work. I did that. It was probably best to just give it a little break, because you did hit a bit of a plateau there. And so,
Yeah.
so that, kind of where you're at now, and you are looking to maintain slash do a little bit of a reverse. Can you talk about how that is going, how you're feeling with this process right now?
I'm definitely enjoying, more food and more treats. And oddly enough, I actually think my exam is over, because I know that's something we talked about taking into consideration. It's one, the holidays, family coming to visit for a couple of days. Christmas was pretty quiet, like in a good way. So that was nice to not really have to avoid a lot of stuff. We kind of enjoyed our meal and moved on. I didn't feel like I had to go overboard, just being mindful of the portions. Um, and then, yeah, my goal was to kind of maintain through that ad cream, which I know you talked about, like, you don't necessarily like tell people which supplements to take, but I do want to put it out there that that was something I probably could have been benefiting from for a long time. So I think it was helpful having you there as a guidance through a little bit of weight gain from that. It's not be afraid because I kind of do just like feel the same, even though the scale's up a little bit from that. And then just in general, I'm taking the stress into consideration. So I put back a couple pounds, but that's with the addition of creatine. I'm doing a lot more volume in my training. So maybe gaining a bit of muscle with that, which will be good. But I'm actually looking forward to maybe going back into a little bit of a deficit now that my exam's over. And Monday, I start my structured schedule. So yeah, I guess that's also kind of a win, is looking forward to going into a little bit of a deficit again. I don't know that I've ever said that before, but it was maintainable, a little hungry at first to get used to, and then you get used to it. And it was just totally doable. I had Starbucks. Joey and I would go out to like lunch or dinner, once a week, and I would enjoy a meal, but I didn't finish it. I didn't feel like I had to. I would enjoy an alcoholic beverage, but just one, just to kind of go out and enjoy the night and have balance. And then move on the next day, get right back on track. And so that was a big win for me. And so yeah, as far as that, that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Long story long. I was able to maintain through the summer and was a little bit more mindful. And then through the holidays, just enjoyed them. And then there was lots of sitting and studying for this exam these last couple weeks. So I'm not really surprised about my spike. I think that'll come back down in the next couple of weeks. So that's a win too. Usually I'd probably be crying right now.
It's a huge win. So I'm stoked to hear that. You kind of just went through it, but this is, your journey is what everyone who comes to me like wants, right? That's in terms of, dieting, reaching a goal, like this, your journey has been like as close to perfect as we could want, which has been amazing. Which is why I asked you to come on here and talk about it, because I want for anyone who has any kind of weight loss or physical composition goals to experience this. And this is why I do what I do. So you talked about a lot of it, and you shared a ton of your success. Is there anything else that you would share with somebody who is maybe on the fence about coaching, who has thought about it, who is trying to do what you did? Anything that you would share with them, or any other things that we didn't touch on?
One, I'd obviously say go for it. I know, especially, I think people's number one thoughts are finances and is it worth it? And I do think it's worth it, because to me, I thought, how many more years am I going to do this vicious cycle? Like, that alone was worth it. And it's not just these weekly check-ins. You provide education and reasons behind stuff, weekly tools to do, and to kind of, in a sense, things to read and watch this video, but it's totally doable. It's not like you're sitting there for hours. I like that you kind of like assigned portions of like your guide to read. And I think especially if somebody were brand new coming into nutrition and macros, like I've tracked macros for a while. I've had like a basis, like a decent kind of baseline on nutrition. It was more of the guidance to go through a cut. Um, I would say then it's even more worth it if you've done macros. If you really don't know a lot of nutrition, yeah, I would definitely say it's even more worth it than if you do know a bit more about nutrition. And it's not like, the internet is so flooded with fitness influencers and people offering their macro guides and their version of one-on-one coaching, but you're in a pool of thousands of people, so you might not even get that person that's checking in on you, or it's a really vague trend. I know I've had friends do like an online one-on-one coaching, and sometimes they didn't even get their weekly check-in. The person would just forget, or it would be super basic and not personable. So, I'd say with you take everything into consideration. Before you come into the check-in, you're looking at what I ate for the week and maybe investigating why there was either a spike or a plateau. You even helped me through things you didn't technically need to help me through, like my hip hurting, and giving me kind of tools to try and get me back into the training that I wanted to do. So I think it's just more than macros. And I remember thinking like, oh, accountability, is that really it? Like I can hold myself accountable, but it is. It is a huge accountability, and it's like having somebody by your side doing it, especially if you don't have like a significant other who really cares to track anything or be super healthy. Maybe they don't need to. Must be nice. Uh, I know as ladies, probably maybe the men in our lives don't have to try as hard, and that's frustrating too, but it is what it is. Can't do anything about it. So yeah, I think having somebody kind of hold your hand through all that has been totally worth it. So yeah, I would just say just do it if you can, and Brooke really worked with me, especially with our little break. I feel like that was great too, as a way to like have some training wheels and then come back and try it out and see how I did on my own, and come back to things and dial it right back in. And yeah, so now I have some lifelong, kind of like a checklist. That was something else I meant to mention, was I have a mental checklist, which I think I'm going to make a physical checklist just in my notes, because I like checklists, of, if you see a weight spike, let's go through the list. Have you been as consistent as you say you've been? Have you been drinking your water? Have you been hitting your protein, your fiber? Is stress going on? Did you have a lot of sodium, or maybe did you have a drink last night? And that's probably why your scale's up. So yeah, I think that's a tool I look forward to carrying and not worrying about as much anymore.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for trusting me throughout all of that. Like I said, it was an absolute pleasure, and I am stoked to just keep an eye on your food journal and call you out on Skype.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I'm like,
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the awareness of it and what it can do, right? So just wanted to monitor that.
yeah.
Anyways, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I am insanely grateful for you coming on here and sharing all of this. And I'm stoked for you. And otherwise, have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you on Instagram.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Fitness Simplified podcast. We are stoked to have you join us on your journey to better health and fitness. If you have any questions, suggestions for future topics, or just want to chat, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Brooke_Elysian and Facebook linked in the show notes, or via our website, ElysianWomen'sWellness.com. If you enjoyed what you heard today, we would be thrilled if you could take a half second to leave us a 5-star rating and review. Not only will you be helping others find our show, but you'll also be entered into our monthly $100 giveaway for new reviews. If there was something you heard that was helpful or impactful, please screenshot it, tag me, and share what it was so that we can bring you more. Plus, you'll be entered into our monthly Legion Recharge post-workout giveaway. New episodes drop every Monday, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. Thanks for listening.